There is something people have never quite understood about you. You're not lonely. You're not depressed. You're not hiding from the world or waiting for the right people to finally make you social. You simply feel better alone, in your own space, in your own silence, without the weight of other people's energy pressing against you. And the world has opinions about that. They call it antisocial, cold, avoidant. They ask if you're okay. They suggest you need to get out more. They treat your solitude like a symptom, like something that needs to be fixed before you can be considered whole. But psychology tells a completely different story. Preferring solitude isn't damage. It isn't loneliness wearing a disguise. It isn't fear pretending to be independence. In many cases, it reflects 6 deep psychological traits that only certain people carry. Traits that formed for reasons. Traits that make complete sense once you understand where they came from. So, let's get into them. The first trait is the foundation of almost everything else, and it has to do with how much your mind is actually doing at any given moment. Trait 1. You process the world more deeply than most people. You don't just experience things, you process them. Where most people move through an experience and continue forward, your mind stays with it longer, turns it over, examines it from multiple angles, finds layers inside it that weren't immediately visible, sits with it until it's fully understood, rather than simply filed away. Psychology calls this sensory processing sensitivity, deeper cognitive processing, stronger emotional reactivity, and a tendency to notice subtleties that most people simply don't perceive. In practice, the world arrives to you at higher volume. A crowded room isn't just loud, it's loud and visually complex, and emotionally layered and socially demanding all at once. A difficult conversation doesn't end when it ends. It keeps running quietly in the background of everything else you do. An ordinary day contains more information for you than the same day contains for someone whose processing runs shallower. And that depth is genuinely costly, not dramatically, in a quiet, cumulative, entirely invisible way. By the end of a day spent around people, you are not just tired. You are depleted. Solitude isn't withdrawal. It isn't avoidance. It's the necessary space where a deeply processing mind finally gets to slow down, to integrate, to stop receiving new information long enough to finish working through what it's already carrying. Your need for alone time is not antisocial. It is the accurate requirement of a mind that works harder than most people ever realize. And it's not just the noise and stimulation of the world that accumulates inside you. It's something even harder to name: other people's emotional states. Trait 2. Other people's energy stays with you long after they've gone. You don't just spend time with someone, you carry them afterward. Their mood, their stress, the tension underneath their words, even when the words themselves were perfectly pleasant, the anxiety vibrating just beneath someone's composure, the grief a person brought into the room without mentioning it. You felt all of it while they were there, and when they leave, some of it stays. Psychology describes this through emotional contagion, the largely involuntary transfer of emotional states between people. For those with deep processing sensitivity and high empathic awareness, this functions more like full absorption. Someone near you is carrying grief, and something in you grows heavier without knowing why. Someone is anxious beneath a calm exterior, and your nervous system quietly registers the gap before your mind does. Someone brings subtle conflict into a room, and you feel it shift before a single word has been spoken about it. You are not imagining this. Your system is simply calibrated to receive emotional frequency at a register most people never access. And it accumulates, silently, without announcement. By the end of time spent around people, even people you love, even pleasant interactions, you are not only carrying your own emotional state, you are carrying fragments of everyone else's. Solitude for you is not simply rest. It's where you finally set down everything you absorbed that was never yours to begin with, where you locate your own emotional state beneath everything layered on top of it, where you remember what you actually feel, separate from what you've been quietly receiving from the world around you. That need is real, significant, and invisible, to almost everyone who has ever asked why you need so much time alone. But here's what makes it even more specific. It's not all social interaction that drains you. It's a particular kind. The kind that looks like connection, but never quite becomes it. Trait 3. You find surface connection quietly exhausting. There is a specific kind of tired that comes not from being around people, but from being around people without ever actually reaching them. You know this tired very well. It comes after an evening of pleasant conversation that never went anywhere real, after hours of interaction that was warm and friendly and entirely surface, after social contact that looked like connection from the outside, but felt from the inside like an elaborate exercise in mutual performance. You can do it. You're probably quite good at it, but it costs you something that genuine, deep conversation simply doesn't. Because what you're actually searching for in connection is not company, it's contact, real contact. The kind where something true is being said and something true is being received, where both people are actually present beneath the social layer, rather than simply operating on top of it. Psychology links this to a preference for meaningful, substantive interaction over ambient social presence. People with this trait find large gatherings, small talk, and obligatory social contact genuinely draining, not because they dislike people, but because those formats rarely deliver what they're actually looking for. And when connection repeatedly fails to reach the depth you need, when you leave interaction after interaction, feeling more alone than when you arrived, solitude stops being a second choice. It becomes the more honest option, because alone, you are not pretending, not performing, not navigating the quiet disappointment of being surrounded by people while still feeling unseen. Alone, at least, is real. And the reason solitude feels so real, so genuinely satisfying, is because of what's actually waiting for you there. Trait 4. You have a rich inner world that genuinely sustains you. Most people need external stimulation to feel engaged. Conversation, noise, activity, the presence of others. These are what make life feel alive to them. You are different. Your inner world is not empty. It is not a waiting room you sit in until real life begins again. It is full genuinely, specifically, richly full, of thoughts that move in directions most people's thoughts don't travel, of observations that accumulate quietly and connect in ways that take time to fully understand, of questions you are still working through, of ideas that feel more alive inside your own mind than they ever quite do when spoken aloud. Psychology describes this as a highly developed inner life, common in people with deep processing sensitivity, high introspective capacity, and strong absorption, the tendency to become deeply immersed in one's own mental and imaginative experience. For people with this trait, solitude is not the absence of stimulation. It is a different kind of stimulation entirely, one that is quieter, more sustainable, more precisely calibrated to the way your mind actually works. You think better alone. You feel more clearly alone. You access parts of yourself in solitude that never quite surface when other people are present, because other people require a portion of your attention that your inner world then loses. This is why you can spend an entire afternoon alone and emerge feeling genuinely nourished, not bored, not isolated, not lonely, full. You are not missing something that other people have. You are built differently. Your sources of nourishment are different, and your relationship with your own inner world is more developed, more sustaining, more real than most people's relationship with theirs. That is not a flaw. That is a feature of extraordinary depth. Now, for some people, everything we've covered so far is simply how they're wired. But for many others, something else is also present. Something that didn't come from temperament. It came from experience. Trait 5. You became someone who needed less because once you had to. Maybe you grew up in an environment where emotional inconsistency was the norm, where the people who were supposed to be your safe harbor were themselves unpredictable, warm one moment, distant the next, present in body but absent in the way that actually mattered. Maybe you learned that being around people meant reading the room constantly, monitoring moods, adjusting yourself, managing your own needs downward so they didn't become inconvenient to someone else. Maybe you were simply someone who felt too much in environments that didn't have the capacity to hold that, and learned, through accumulated experience, that solitude was where you finally got to stop managing and simply be. Psychology links this to nervous system adaptations formed in response to emotional unpredictability. When connection repeatedly arrives alongside stress, or requires significant self-suppression, the nervous system begins to associate proximity with effort and solitude with safety. You didn't choose to need people less. You learned to, because needing less felt safer than needing more and being met with uncertainty. And once that learning settles into the nervous system, once solitude becomes the place where you feel reliably calm and fully yourself, it becomes more than preference. It becomes home. And that brings us to the final trait, the one that quietly underlies all the others. Because for many people who prefer solitude, it's not just about rest or depth or temperament. It's about protection. Trait 6. Your solitude is how you protect what's most real about you. There is a version of you that exists in solitude that doesn't fully exist anywhere else. The version that thinks without editing, feels without managing, moves through its own inner world without adjusting for an audience. The version closest to what you actually are, beneath the social self, beneath the careful presentation, beneath the version that has learned exactly how much of itself to offer and how much to keep protected. That version is real, it is yours, and it is worth protecting. But here's the quiet cost. When the most real version of yourself primarily exists alone, when solitude is the only reliable place where you don't have to manage or perform, connection starts to carry a particular kind of risk. The risk of being seen. Not just encountered, not just liked, but genuinely, fully seen in the unedited, unmanaged form that only solitude usually gets to hold. And for people who have learned that visibility can be costly, who have been dismissed, misread, or simply never quite met at the depth they were reaching from, that risk can feel like more than social discomfort. It can feel like genuine danger. So, solitude becomes not just rest, not just preference. It becomes protection. The place where you are never misunderstood because you are never exposed. Where nothing is required of you. Where the most real parts of you are simply safe. There's a difference worth sitting with here. Between solitude chosen freely from wholeness, from genuine preference, from a rich inner life that doesn't require constant external company, and solitude chosen defensively, from a nervous system that learned, somewhere early, that the world outside was not reliably safe enough to bring the real self into. Both are valid. Both make sense. Both deserve compassion. But only one of them is fully free. So let's bring it together, because if you've seen yourself in any of this, there's something important to understand. You are not antisocial. You are not broken. You are not someone who simply hasn't found the right people yet, as though the right crowd would finally correct whatever is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are someone who processes deeply, who absorbs what others never notice, who finds surface connection genuinely insufficient, who has a rich inner world that sustains you in ways external stimulation rarely matches, who learned perhaps that solitude was the one place where nothing was required of you and everything real about you was allowed to simply exist. That is not damage. That is depth. But depth, held entirely alone, can become its own kind of quiet prison. Because the parts of you that live most fully in solitude, the real thoughts, the honest feelings, the unedited self, they deserve, eventually, to be met. Not performed for, not carefully rationed to people who might not handle them well. Met, actually met, by someone with enough stillness and patience to sit with the real version of you without needing you to be simpler than you are. You were not built for shallow connection. You were never going to be satisfied by it. But you were built for connection. The kind that is rare. The kind that requires patience to find. The kind where solitude and intimacy are not opposites, where being truly known by another person feels like an extension of the same safety you found alone. That kind exists. And you deserve it not instead of your solitude, but alongside it. Because the goal was never to need people less. The goal was always to find the ones worth coming out of solitude for. If something in this video finally gave language to a way of being that most people never understood about you, you're in exactly the right place. This channel exists for people who feel deeply, think deeply, and have spent too long being misread by a world that moves too fast to see them clearly. Subscribe to UNFELT and tap the bell icon to get all notifications so you never miss a video. There's more here that was made for you.